Hello everyone and welcome to our monthly webinar, and this month has been an overwhelming response to us. We've done quite a few SOC 2 webinars over the years, and of course the prime speaker has always been me, so I guess everyone got tired. So so the key requirement that came up this time was if we can interact with the CPA and get some live answers. So you asked for it and we got it, so we got more than one, so to say. So let's jump right into it. And today's topics that will be covered, as already circulated to you, is in terms of what is a SOC 2 audit, how to get started, and how to prepare. You have this background to it, and okay. And if you're attending this webinar, you'll get one complete CPA, but you have to attend it to the end. The reason being, in case there's an audit and the place that is submitted the CP, they ask for a verification, we have to check that you've attended till the end. So you can't be dropping off midway, you have to be there till the end. And we have been doing webinars over the past more than 5 years now, one every month, and all are there online. All are there online, and you can view them online on our YouTube channel that you can see over here. One sec, I'll just post the link for you. We are probably one of the most subscribed channels on YouTube in our field. That is, we're not in the media industry. In our field, one second, just putting up the link for you. We have more than like 2,000 plus subscribers to our channel, and yes, I'm just copying this for you. Yes, so here, this is put down in the chat box for you, our YouTube channel. There are like more than 100 plus videos online, and feel free to visit. And as we go along, drop your queries. This webinar is with our CPA and our customer success manager. So drop in your queries, whatever it is. Now we've already have almost 20 questions that I have to answer. Obviously, we can't take all of them in this 40 minutes that we have, but we'll take up as many as possible. But one thing I can promise you is that we will answer all the queries at least by mail, but feel free to keep dropping in your queries as we go along. And of course, you know me over the years. I've been there for the webinars. Our company, VISTA InfoSec. We are ourselves doing SOC 1, SOC 2. We are also PCI DSS certifying body, QPA, SSF, so many other things. Hipaa, GDPR, CSV, SOC, so many things that we do. And this is about our CPA, Mr. Ishan. There's been some technical issues, so he's not been able to show himself maybe the next time, but he's there. I welcome Ishan. Ishan, are you there? At least you can speak up. Ishan, are you there? Can you hear me?
Yep, I'm here. And thank you so much, Naren, for inviting me on this.
So Ishan is a personal friend, and he's a CPA, and we have worked on dozens and dozens of assignments across the world, and he has more than 8-10 years experience. He himself is a CISA, he's a CPA accredited with the EICPA. He's worked on multiple assignments for SOCs. He basically works on our international assignments. And there is our Jason Benoit, as he is our customer success manager. He is also looking after strategic compliance, forming compliance strategies. He is not to be confused with Jason Bourne. He looks as handsome, and the initials are the same, JB, Jason Bourne, and there is Jason Benoit, right? So he works with our critical clients, especially in the US and UK, Canada, those areas. He's got a very rich experience in guiding clients on various compliance issues. So, and it just struck me actually, Jason, I hope you realize we are literally at this time in 3 separate continents. Like I've come down to India, you are there in the US, and Ishan is sitting in the UK. We are literally in 3 separate continents, and it's such a marvel of technology that we could interact and even speak to a global audience. We have, like, at this time, more than 400 people who signed up. This has been one of our most successful webinars of all time. More than 400 subscriptions. Of course, we don't charge anybody, but it's very happy and very uplifting and encouraging to see so many people attending. So, Jason, welcome, and I'm really appreciate that you take the time and be there for our webinar to guide our audiences and to share your live experiences. So, welcome, Jason. How are you doing?
Doing well, doing good. We're ready to go. I think everybody's here for
yes,
the show.
And it's not 7 o'clock, something anyway. So going ahead. So we, as a company, we are there in various countries. So they're in India, US, Canada, and Jason looks after US, Canada, UK, those areas. Ishan himself is there in the UK and he keeps traveling very frequently. We were office in the Middle East and also in Singapore. US, we've been there for more than 7 years now, and we are ourselves certified, QSA, QPA, SSF, many things. Anyway, these are our service portfolios. We work. We are not really a product sales company. We are not into software sales at all. We are primarily in compliance, governance, regulatory compliance, privacy, technical assessments, many things that we have worked on. And these are the certification stroke attestation, because SOC 1, SOC 2, as everyone knows, is not a certification, it's more like an attestation. So we work on them, many areas, and these are a few of our clients that have chosen to work with us, one of the largest companies in India and overseas in the US, UK, even from the Middle East, Africa. We worked on companies. Okay, so that's about our company. We'll not take up more time on that. But a small request: as the webinar ends, there's a survey participation request. We spend a lot of time and money on these webinars, and which we do for free. And your feedback is the most appreciated. So feel free, whether it could be negative, positive, any words of encouragement or any critical feedback on how we can improve. Please feel free to drop in a line. So again, thank you for sharing your valuable time for this webinar. All right, so jumping right in, guys. And so coming to the first question of the day. So this is from the questions that has already been, come up for as people have written in, on Ask Us at VISTA InfoSec.com. Okay, I'm getting a feedback that can you stop the music, and I cannot. You're not playing any music, my friend. Jason, can you hear any music in the background?
I don't have any music in the background.
Yeah, I'm wondering, actually, one person. Okay, anyway, I don't think there is anything from our side. All right, let us jump directly in and jump into tackling the queries. All right, the first question, it is something that is many people have written in on this. So we are summarizing this basically. So the question is on the applicability of SOC2. So this question I'll be targeting both Ishan and Jason. So let me start off with you, Ishan. So who needs what do you feel would be the applicability of a SOC2 attestation? So who all would you think would this be applicable to? Ishan, over to you. And then Jason, perhaps you can drop in and give your feedback.
Sure.
So I think, in my opinion, SOC2 audit, as we understand, it's an IT audit, IT compliance audit, which primarily covers 5 TSCs given by AICPA. And in my experience, I have seen, majorly the IT service providers do go for SOC 2 attestations, as well as, any kind of a service provider who is leveraging upon some sort of an IT environment, which is very critical and important as part of their day-to-day operations, and, to meet the end objective of providing the service to the clients. These days, we have also seen, a boom of many SaaS service providers coming into the market, lot many startups and all these kind of organizations are going for SOC 2, and it is really very relevant to get SOC 2 attestation, whereby they can get a lot of benefits. Also, and it's not a type of an organization, but that's a very niched category of customers which we usually see. There are organizations which go for SOC 2 basis their customer demands, which means if your clients or your users want some kind of a comfort about your IT environment, they can definitely ask for a SOC 2, and then you can go for a SOC 2 compliance certificate.
Thank you for that, sharing your thought. So yeah, so Jason, what would be your feedback on this, on the
Well,
applicability of SOC 2? What has been your experience?
yeah, I just, do you guys remember a couple years ago, Capital One had a breach and they ended up having to write off like I don't know, like $100 million in credit on individuals throughout their thing. And that got me thinking, I was like, can you imagine? They obviously would have their own internal audit, but can you imagine a lawyer getting in front of a lawsuit and saying, well, okay, you had your internal audit and it was biased, and that's probably what led to the hack. And, what did you do in order to, what was your diligence? What was part of your diligence? And if you don't have that diligence in hand, the lawyer is there sitting going, jackpot for
Yeah,
me.
yeah,
and
yeah.
and so it had Capital One had that diligence pressed, had they had SOC 2 to work through their audit programs and everything, they would be able to say, hey, look, this is our diligence. We didn't even have our own in-house audit. We had an out-house making sure that they were processing everything on the outside, making sure that everything was clear and good. That would just sort of insulate them from any potential legal issues that could come up with like lawsuits and breach of trust, breach of hack, breach of information, etc. So if you could see yourself in that position, then maybe you can see yourself with SOC 2 as well.
Yes, yes, that's well summarized. Actually, so many hacks are happening on a almost a daily basis. And actually, as per the DBIR, data breach incident investigation report by Verizon, more than 20,000 such attacks have happened. Well-known attacks have happened over the past year, and there has been hundreds of billions of dollars worth of damages. And so yes, so SOC 2 attestation. That's where ASCP came up with a list of requirements, and that's where the requirement is there, as Ishan rightly said, for service-based organizations to do SOC 2. Yes. So, so the next part, Ishan, um, this is again, almost on a daily basis as we get the requirements and people ask these questions. That is, what type of report do you need? Whether it's a type 1 or a type 2, how would you decide what you need? Which type of SOC 2 report do you need? So, how would you take that? What would be your advice to them, Ishan?
I think, Naren, this is one of the most common questions which we are
Yes, yes,
asked, when we are interacting. And I mean, I would just take a step back and maybe, understand what exactly is a SOC 2. It's not a certificate, it's a attestation, it's an audit.
yes.
I mean, it's not, one-time game. It's like, you need to have it on regular basis. So the idea is we need to understand how do, organizations start their journey. Do they want to start their journey with a type 2 attestation or a type 1 attestation? And again, I mean, it really depends upon the maturity, how mature the IT environment or IT compliance for an organization is. If an organization is having not so immature IT compliance, which means maybe they are going for a first time IT audit, I think my suggestion would be then they should go for a readiness and then type 1 audit, so that they get some time, understand things, and then when they are ready for the next level, they go for a regular type 2 audit. Just want to add another thing. Uh, my advice to all the listeners here: always go for a regular type 2 audit, because continuation of SOC 2 audits really mean a lot, and that's what usually expected from the customers as well. But yeah, I see you were saying something, right?
Right, right. No, that's a great point. I was just looking up the audience queries actually. There are so many queries that has come up. Okay, so I'm reading that so I can ask you the right question. There are so many of them actually. All right, so Ishan, actually, yes, depends on the maturity, and of course, so we tell them also that how much time you have. That's another. What do you think, Ishan? And I think even Jason would speak the same thing. That is, how much time do you have? Because many a time we ask the clients also, if you got maybe 3-4 months, so probably go in for a type 1, because it's almost impossible to complete a type 2 in for the first time in 3 to
Yeah.
4 months. You'll take like almost a year, if not more. So because type 2 with all the due diligence needs at least around 6 months of audit evidence. So you start doing the policies and procedures, that will take you 3 to 4 months, and then again 6 months of gestation and maturity. So that adds to 10 months. So that's like 10 months, 12 months, a year is something that we're looking at. So that's another parameter that Ishan, what do you think about that? Would that be a good way?
I think yes, I completely agree with you on this. And yeah, I mean, it's if you're going for a first-time audit or first-time IT compliance, any kind of an IT audit, go for a type 1 and plan accordingly for the type 2. But if you already have some kind of an IT compliance, which can be, PCI, Hipaa, or maybe, any sort of IT compliance, maybe ISO. But again, I mean, in that case, you can maybe start the journey with type 2 as well.
I'm not
Okay,
even,
on this actually, yeah, sorry, go ahead, Jesse.
I'm not sure if the question really is how long will it take, but how long can you afford to go without? If you think about your timelines, if it's taking, roughly about a year to get this in, if you push that off, what is your vulnerability level with each passing month?
Yes.
And that should maybe motivate you or give you a sense of the degree of urgency that you would need in order to establish this. How long it takes for the program to work is an important question, but how long can you survive without it?
Yeah. I get your point actually. Yeah. So how long actually? So many a time companies just don't want to wait for a year. So we always say go for a type 1 immediately. So Ishan, just as a follow-up, actually, this is Mr. Ajmal who's written a nice query. That is, hi Ishan, if a company is already 27001 compliant, then should we go for type 2 directly? What would you say, Ishan? This is a query
I,
online, just came in
I think
from
I
Mr.
think I think
Ajmal.
yes. If you have undergone a 27001, and if it was a detailed audit performed by the
Yeah.
regulatory body, then I mean, of course, you
Hmm.
can go for a type 2 audit. And obviously, I mean, many times people believe that ISO and SOC 2 cover. I mean, they have a very good overlap, which I don't really agree with. But of course, I mean,
Yeah.
at least you have started your IT compliance journey. So yeah, the auditors can help you go with the type 2 as well.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up, Ishan. And that's what I love about Ishan. Is super, super practical, and that's why I get along also so well. So yeah, because many people get misguided that if you've got ISO 27001, so SOC 2 would be a breeze. No way, no way. Actually, no way. It's like 15-20% overlap, and if you've done it extremely well, which I doubt, extremely well, then probably you can think about going in for type 2 directly. ISO, is an extremely outdated standard, and SOC 2 is very much in tune and very much entrenched with the COSO principles. It's got an entire domain on privacy, which is unheard of in SOC 2. And it basically is not just about data security, but also about how IT is working in the organization, overall IT functioning in the organization, how the organization in itself is functioning, is covered under SOC 2. So you see, in my when clients come to us, we still say it all depends on how mature you think you are, because we have no idea how mature you are. If you really think you're really up to the mark with 6 months, all the evidence is in place, go for type 2 directly. Otherwise, stick with the type 1. Otherwise, you'll be stuck for a long time. So anyway, so going ahead. All right, so there has been quite a few questions coming in for ISO and SOC 2. What I would suggest, guys, is that visit our site, VISTAInfoSec.com, go to the blog, and over there are quite a few articles that you've written on SOC 2 and ISO. There is on the playlist that you've already put in the chat box of our YouTube channel. Go to the SOC 2 playlist. Over there also there is an entire video of SOC 2 and ISO 27000 on how you can do it together, the overlaps and stuff. That will probably help you out, right? And then somebody has written, where can one get the controls of SOC 2 if I need to implement? You can just go to aicpa.org. The controls are there to download directly. All right, jumping directly to the next one. There is a flood of questions coming in, Ishan. And everybody's so happy that Jason, you, with your practical background and experience, and Ishan with your super audit experience is there, and people are just flooding with questions. I'm trying to juggle with the questions already picked up earlier and now the new ones that's coming in. So I really appreciate the enthusiasm by everyone. Thank you, everyone, for being there. All right. So the next thing is, how would SOC2 attestation help an organization, or how is SOC2 attestation beneficial for an organization? Jason, if you can just summarize a quick answer on that, because people are still confused whether we should. Even today, I'm taking calls where people are saying, should I do SOC2 or not? Is it really going to help my company? So, we take that question almost on a daily basis. So, Jason, your 2 cents on this.
There is nothing more damaging to a brand than security breaches, information weaknesses, points, anything like that.
Yeah.
As soon as you can watch, any stock, as soon as they have a breach, their stock will drop, at least a couple of points. And so with your own company, you are looking to prevent and have the reputation that your company never gets these sort of things. These issues never occur. And, with having the attestation, it's going to make sure that we secure those breaches, that we loophole them all up, and that those surprises aren't in your purview.
Right. Right. And basically speaking, what we observed, and that's where Jason comes in also very strongly for the company, is that for any company in the US who are looking for providing services in the US, it's almost impossible nowadays to provide services in the US unless you're SOC 2. So basically, as Ishan said very well, and even Jason mentioned it very well, that any sort of service-based organizations need to do SOC 2, and that's where it will help you, as Jason said very well, to as a due diligence for your organization in case something goes wrong with you in your management of the client data, and for you even to get more clients. SOC 2 becomes almost like a de facto requirement. And
Right.
all right, so moving ahead, Ishan, what should be rather the question? Okay, if I summarize it, how should an organization, in your opinion, prepare for the SOC 2 audit? Ishan, over to you.
I think they should start with hiring a good auditors for that first.
Yeah, true.
And I mean, taking it seriously, I think, maybe first they need to understand the expectation, and have a internal plan, like how long and how quickly they want to get the SOC 2 audit complete. And if the timeline is a little stringent, then my suggestion would be to hire an audit firm, ask them to do some kind of a readiness assessment for you, so that you have a good and productive SOC 2 audit. And also you need to ensure that your all the internal teams are there to support the auditors, because I mean it's a two-way process, not a one-way game. And before you get into the audit, ensure that all the critical IT areas and related policies and process documents are already in place, because that will save a lot of time. I think that's the I think, yeah, that's what I can maybe recall right now. And also one more thing, I mean,
Yeah.
don't take audit as a burden. I mean, try to take it consider it as a positive, so that both the sides are able to benefit from that. Because if the outlook is not positive, I'm not sure how it really ends up.
Darren, would you suggest?
Yeah, true.
Sorry,
Yeah,
Darren,
Jason, you were saying?
that teams have almost like within their organization, if you're going for a SOC 2 audit, that the preparation gets delegated specifically to a set of individuals to sort of make sure that the process goes as smoothly as possible without any kinks or anything else like that.
Yes, that's a great point, Jason. Yeah, thanks for because as Ishan also mentioned very well, that is the preparatory phase, the readiness phase is very important. And as Jason chipped in, a very important point, that is the right delegation of responsibilities. Otherwise, it just bounces in the organization where nobody wants to take the responsibilities. So it's the right people have to be allocated the right responsibilities so that it moves in the right direction. Otherwise, it just bounces around. It's not something that just the IT team can provide. There has to be a right group of people, somebody from finance, somebody from HR, somebody from IT, and even a senior management sponsor like a director level person better be there, to ensure the audit happens in the right way. And as Ishan mentioned very well, and that is, if you're doing this for the first time, ensure that you've done a readiness test before the audit. So that's where many companies call us also, that is to do a readiness check. Like for almost all the clients, we sign up SOC 2 almost like a couple of 1 or 2 contracts at least a week. So almost all the clients opt for a readiness test before the final audit. So that is something which is a very smart thing to do. So thanks for that, guys. And okay, the next question. Okay, so when we are talking about readiness, sorry, how do I know, Ishan? The question is, how do I know that whether my SOC 2 is on track? My SOC 2 audit is on track. How would you answer that? Is my SOC 2 audit happening properly?
I mean, how we usually do from our side, I mean, it's like whenever we kickstart any audit, we usually share a project plan with the management so that, we are aware, like if the overall audit process is on time or if there are any delays, and we are able to identify the delays are from either from auditor side or maybe from the management side in providing the evidence or the support. So I think the bestest way to ensure the timelines is to have a rock solid project plan on documented, and yeah, I mean, I think that's how you can
So,
track the
so, so
progress.
Ishan, let me just interrupt you here. You said the right plan. So one of the questions that was there in the listing is, what is the process for a SOC 2 audit? So perhaps if you can build in the audit plan and then explain the SOC 2 audit process.
Yeah, I think yes. So, I mean, the idea is, you need to divide the overall SOC 2 audit in various phases and activities so that, you can track upon that. I mean, for me, a SOC 2 audit starts from signing of the engagement letter, then, understanding the IT process, or maybe, performing the readiness assessment, assuming it's a first time audit, and then maybe, sharing the gaps and recommendations to the team so that they can implement those gaps, and before the final SOC 2 audit happens, they are 100% prepped for that.
And again, Darren,
Okay.
I want to
Yeah,
illustrate
yeah, sure.
how important it is to have specific individuals take responsibility over the project in order to help it go along. Because if it bounces around, it's going to cost you time and money, and nobody has infinite amount of time or money. And if you have those special individuals who are taking advantage of it, maybe you have a young person who's ready to just go, and you have a little bit of an older person who's ready to drive the younger people towards getting this done. It's
Yes.
it's a complement between the people and the assessment.
Okay. Yes. Thanks for that. Actually, yes. So as Jason mentioned and Ishan also, primarily speaking, the first thing that we do is form an audit plan, or audit project plan. And in that, the roles and responsibilities are identified. Then listing of evidences is sent, initial evidences. Then the auditor will work on sending across maybe a sampling sheet that is required for you to provide the evidences on. And then the evidences are provided. If the auditor is satisfied that you're ready, then we start the audit. The audit starts and the meetings go on with the people. The findings are given. You will be given a very lean timeline, maybe a week, 10 days to fix the gaps if you want to. Otherwise, then the audit report gets signed off. So that's how is the by and large the overall process. So all right, Ishan, there's a nice question from Mr. Patel. Hi team, need your comments on SOC 2 and Hipaa. Do you need to do it separately? What do you think, Ishan?
I think that's a very good question, and Yeah, I mean, you can do it separately, or maybe you can combine it in a report with SOC, which is called SOC2 Plus, whereby we can include the control activities and related risk areas from Hipaa. But again, I mean, it really depends. I mean, if there is a regulatory requirement from any of your clients or users to have you Hipaa certified, in that case that needs to be done separately. But if there is no regulatory requirement, but yes, you want to share and showcase the users that yes, you are you meet the HIPAA guidance and requirements, but it is documented in a SOC 2 plus report, then it can be combined. I hope that helps.
Yes, yes, of course. Thank you for bringing up the SOC 2 plus part. Yes.
Mhm.
And just as an add-on, guys, there is the privacy trust principle in Hipaa, sorry, in SOC 2, and there is some overlap between the privacy requirements, and over here there is a huge overlap between GDPR and the privacy requirements of SOC 2, but there is a small overlap between SOC 2 and Hipaa requirements. But as Ishan directly mentioned very well, that the scope of SOC 2 can be extended with a SOC 2 plus report. But then again, if it's a regulatory requirement, you can't submit a SOC 2 plus report over there, in which case you need to have a Hipaa report separate. Am I right? Did I summarize that well, Ishan? Would you
That's right.
agree with that? Yes, thank you for that. Okay, so yes, moving ahead on this one sec. Okay, so coming to the next one, Ishan, they are asking the favorite question of all time: how much does it cost to be Hipaa certified? Jason, perhaps you would like to do this question because this is like a business type question. How much does it cost to be, like it? They're asking basically for audit fees and stuff.
Right.
So, how much does it cost? What would you say to that effect?
It depends on what you're getting and how much you're getting, as with anything. So, we can, certain companies, smaller projects, they'll go from 25K. Bigger companies like IBM, et cetera, they'll overreach over 200K because their infrastructure is just that much more detailed. It
Yes.
is tailored to your industry need, and we come in and we can give that tailoring to you, that sort of bespoke feeling, a one of a kind suit for you. uh,
Right,
so
right.
yeah, that's really what we're looking for you.
Yes, well said, Jason. Well said. Actually, just to quickly summarize, you work with clients who've got as few as 10 users in their company, but they still need to get HIPAA SOC 2 certified. So, of course, in that case, the charges would be much less. And then we've got companies where there are 5, 10,000 people in the company. So, in that case, and processes are very big, locations are spread across. So, in that case, the cost goes up. So, it can be anywhere, as Jason rightly said, 10 to 15,000 and going to 100,000 plus. Depends on the scope of the assignment and the amount of time that is needed, the current maturity, trust principles covered, processes covered, whether they want to do a type 1, type 2, of course, being more expensive. So those are the factors on which the costing is based. All right, next, Ishan, for you, actually, you are the star for the day, Ishan. So, so the people are asking for a startup, what could be the important points to keep in mind for ensuring a successful SOC 2 audit, or other, if I can put it across, what are the most important pitfalls to be taken care of in a SOC 2 audit?
That's a really nice question, and I mean we have recently seen a lot of startup going for SOC 2 audits.
Yes,
uh,
yes.
my suggestion would be that always go for I mean various consulting firms and audit firms have their own way of projecting it, but I usually use I mean a complete SOC services, which includes some kind of a consulting service as well as the audit service. Of course, it's up to the auditors to ensure the independence issues among themselves, but yeah, I mean always take uh, consulting services of the auditors, because they can guide you through with the whole SOC 2 process, as well as, since you are, I mean, yes, of course, you are a startup, you might know about technology very well, but how to meet the various compliance requirements, as well as how to implement the best industry practices. I think if there is a good consulting firm or good auditor supporting you, I think you're gonna get benefit, a lot of benefit from them. Secondly, at times, I mean, for startups, they usually, try to duck upon the IT processes and policies and try not to giving so much importance to that. I think that's the biggest mistake or maybe pitfall, which I feel that one should definitely avoid doing.
Yes, yes. Actually, yeah, that's a good point. Because many a time, as companies come with the baggage that okay, we are ISO certified, we have all the policies in place, and that's where it could be one of the biggest pitfalls. But as a company, we are having our own advisory as well as certification or attestation services, and literally our advisory firm, advisory or wing is located in a different continent altogether, so there is no interaction between the advisory and the audit team at all. So the independence is maintained, but at the same time we are able to guide. So as Ishan rightly mentioned, if you can get the advisory from the auditor, close to the auditor, that will be good enough for you. All right. So Jason, another question that is, all right, just to quickly answer a question that has come up. Somebody has asked, can you please touch base on SOC 2 for cybersecurity? See, to that end, what I would request is that, again, if you can go back to our YouTube channel, there's an entire video, or rather, go to the SOC 2 playlist, and over there, you will see a video or a webinar for SOC 2 for cybersecurity. There's an entire webinar for that. So I really hope that helps you, because, we can't really cover it again over here. So, Jason, the next question for you is that how would because Ishar has mentioned quite a few times with regards to SOC 2 readiness assessment, and even I mentioned, even you mentioned. So someone has popped a question over here saying that how would an organization benefit from SOC 2 readiness assessment? Over to you, Jason.
Okay. Well, we are going to figure out your current security posture. What does it look like for you? And the next thing we're going to do is identify control failures and fix those gaps. You will inherently have gaps in the system, and the system will not check itself unless there's another system to check for those specific gaps. The other thing is we would be able to identify the controls that were not flagged as gaps before the assessment. And those are detailed for you a little bit more specifically. Ishan can speak to that a little bit more in depth, but that would give you the headings as to why.
Yes, hi. Yeah, okay. Your video just froze for a second. All right. So yes, yes. Thanks for that, Jason. Yes. Am I audible, or Jason? Ishan, am I audible? All right. Yes. Okay. So basically, yes, Jason. Thanks for that. So it basically identifies the gaps, and there are no unpleasant surprises during the audit. Otherwise, our Ishan will come and he will say not ready at all, and so he'll cancel the audit. So in that case, you lose time and money. So in that case, many a time, see, because once the audit has happened, of course, our team, especially somebody as generous as Ishan, will give you, of course, the time to fix the gaps. But you cannot take 2 months to fix the gaps. You'll get a very lean time, maybe 2-3 days a week to fix the gaps. And in case you've not fixed, then it will get reported, or the audit will get cancelled. Either of those three things will happen. A readiness assessment will help you know how ready you are for SOC 2, and then you have ample amount of time to fix the gaps. And that's how it helps your organization, especially if you're doing it for the first time. Right. So, I hope that makes sense. And yeah, one sec. I'll just bring up the next question. Okay. So the next thing, how can I, how and where can I use the SOC 2 audit report to my benefit? That is for you, Ishan. How and where can I use the SOC 2 audit report to my benefit? So where all can it be used? In short, I'm paraphrasing the question. The person is asking, should I just be circulating the SOC 2 report, or what should I do with the SOC 2 report after the end of this, audit?
Okay, so I mean, SOC2 reports cannot be publicly shared, and I mean, it is only for the organization which is being audited and their user entities and the auditors of their user entities. But just in case if you really want to use and maybe publish them on your website, then I think you should go for a SOC 3 report, which is very similar to SOC 2, but the reporting style and structure is a little different. And there are many reasons to that why it is allowed and not allowed, but I think for those technicalities we can maybe discuss offline. I think this is one, and maybe I mean just to extend this answer of mine. I mean, if you really want to understand how you can use this, maybe you can mention it on your website that you have been audited for SOC 2, and you have a SOC 2 report, and you maybe use this as a competitive advantage. Uh, because I mean, if you are in the market and you have a SOC 2 audit done, but your competitors have not, of course the user entities might have prefer you over them, and 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 yeah, I think that's what I can think of right now.
Right, right. Yeah. And actually speaking, Jason can throw a lot more light on this. We have clients who are actually throw a marketing blitz at the end of a SOC 2 audit. And Jason and his team and its marketing, from the marketing team, we actually support our clients to form this marketing blitz and, write the press releases, design the images, design the congratulation images. So it's a massive thing. If you got certified for the first time, attested for the first time on SOC 2, then it's a major achievement for you, and you should be looking at announcing to anybody and everybody that you are SOC 2 certified. We've reached over there, right? All right. Okay. A follow-up question on this. This is Mr. Rainier. Ishan, for you. Who owns the SOC 2 report? Is it the auditor who published the report, or is it a client who commissioned the report? Quickly, Ishan, what do you think would be the answer to that?
I
Who
think it's
owns the
both.
SOC 2 report? Yeah. Sorry, go
It's
ahead.
both. But yes, I mean, finally the ownership lies with the management and the organization which have been audited.
Right. So it is not the auditor's property. That's what you're saying, right?
Yes.
All right. So, Jason, the next question for you. What will be the tentative time frame for a SOC 2? So, how will it go for you?
Yeah,
Tentative time frame for SOC 2.
you can go from 8 to 12 weeks. And if you're on top of everything and you're going through it and you're addressing the problems as they come up immediately and checking off your list, obviously you're streamlining the process. It's going to be a lot quicker. But it can also take a lot longer, again, depending on the scope of your company and the depth of the analysis and the audit that we're going through and how much procedural we've got it clean. It can take a little bit longer depending on how quick your team can adapt and move forward. And you're also testing your team's response in these situations as well.
Yes. And again, as I said earlier, also thanks for that, Jason. It also depends on how responsive you are. And just to be clear, actually, we have had, say, a SOC 2 type 1. SOC 2, we've got maybe 2-3 clients. Let me be very upfront with you, with everyone, is that we've had a few clients where they have taken more than 2 years for doing a SOC 2 type 2. They thought of going in for SOC 2 type 2 directly, and nobody's willing to take ownership, and it got stretched for more than 2 years. Even the cost for our consulting and audit went double because we couldn't really sustain that cost. And we've had a couple of clients where we actually had to cancel the entire assignment because as Ishan also mentioned earlier, and as Jason mentioned it so candidly, is that the responsibility is very, very important, and so many companies take it so lightly, and not so many, I would say a few companies take it too lightly. And this company where we scrapped the SOC 2 assignment is a really, really very large company, and nobody in the senior management wanted to take responsibility. And in the end, initially they gave it to an admin manager. Can you believe an admin manager doing SOC 2 for the whole organization? And then that person was fed up and decided to leave. And then the it was given to an IT executive who had really no rights in doing anything. And he got, played around like a ping pong ball across the organization, and nothing, nobody was willing to take even our review meetings. Like as a company, we send out project trackers every week. We insist on a review call every fortnight, that is every 2 weeks, and not a single meeting the management would ever turn up, even after requesting. So after waiting and going in circles for like almost 2 years, we finally scrapped the project. We said we can't do this. So basically speaking, but we've had some very good experience also, where companies where the CEO would directly be reviewing the project every week, and it actually got wrapped up in 4 months flat, and they are still one of our best clients. We have their testimonial on our website also, VISTAInfoSec.com. And so four months, that's it. And it was unbelievable for us. Now also we are doing it for one of the largest enterprises in India, and the deadline was September, and they've already started the audit in July. See, it all depends not on the size of the organization or the maturity, but depends on how also is the management involved and is responsive and is given the right resources and the right reviews to ensure that the project is moving in the right direction. So that plays a really vital role, I should say, for the audit. So Ishan, as we're nearing just a couple of more questions, as we're nearing the end, how many principles should be included in a SOC 2 audit? This is like an everyday thing that we're asked, Ishan. So how many principles, in your opinion, should be? So there are 5, as everyone is aware. So in your opinion, Ishan, how many principles should be included in a review report, in a SOC 2 audit? What would you advise to the client?
So I think security is the one which is mandatory. So that has to be always part of a SOC 2 audit. And for the remaining 4 trust service criteria like availability, processing integrity, privacy, and confidentiality, I think you need to discuss with the auditors as well, before starting the audit, understand engagement and understanding the expectation. And it actually depends upon the type of services which you provide to the customers and the clients, and type of IT environment you might have. For example, if you're relying heavily on cloud services by AWS or like Azure, then I'm not sure if availability will make too much of sense, because that has been taken care by them. But if you are processing a lot of data for your clients, and it also includes some personal information, then definitely you might like to include privacy.
Right. Yeah. So see, many a time, okay, Ishan, a follow-up question from me rather. Many a time, even though clients are coming under more than one trust principle, they say, no, we want to done cheap and fast. So just do the basic minimum, just do security, don't do anything else. What would be your advice for such companies who want to, take that way out? What would you say to those companies when you know that they are coming under confidentiality, or they're coming under availability, or they're coming under, say, privacy? What would be your advice for those companies?
I would like to maybe talk to them, explain. Sorry, I can't hear you, Honorine.
No, nothing. Please
Okay.
go ahead.
So yeah, I would like to maybe talk to the clients and explain them, the importance of the other trust service criteria and how this might help, covering the other risks, related risks from the services which they provide to the customers. And in the end, I mean, if they are not really willing to hear, of course, I would still suggest that let's start with the security trust service criteria, and then maybe, maybe in the next report they can include the other trust service criteria, because you need to understand, you need to start your IT compliance journey from somewhere.
Yeah, it's also about streamlining your own productivity, right?
Yeah.
If you want to take shortcuts on your productivity, you're going to take shortcuts on your end product as well, and that's gonna, you're gonna lose out. So it's obviously there's a balance there, but look, when you go to buy a car, yes, you can get the car that just gets you from A to B, but how you get to A to B does matter. And whether you're sitting in cloth or leather, is a big difference when you're having to sit on the highway for 2 hours. We're out.
Yes, yes, yeah. That's a great point you made, Isha. Jason, thanks for that. Yes. So, see, actually speaking, just from practical sense, if I can share, Ishan, you know what I'm talking about with this particular client. What happened is they insisted on a security only to be done, and they submitted their report to their client, to their CPA, and their CPA directly asked them that you are processing privacy information. Is there any reason why you decided not to do the privacy trust principle? Is there anything that you're not ready in? If you're not ready in, please do let us know. So they had nothing to answer. And then we had to redo the audit and reissue a new report. So these are the issues, because then the client, your client, that is not our client, because we submit the report to our client, they submit it to their clients, their client CPA for any sort of review. And what happens is that then the client might raise an objection and ask, why have you not included? Is there some reason why you thought that you are not required to do privacy or availability or confidentiality or processing integrity? Because if you're providing an online portal where processing is being done by your application, why are you not including processing integrity? And just from a very practical point of view, including now, including something like a confidentiality or availability or processing integrity hardly makes any difference to the audit cost, hardly makes any difference to the overall effort. Only difference comes is where you include privacy. Privacy includes a huge number of controls that is added to it. So we always let the client know, see, it's not going to make any difference. If you include confidentiality, availability, or processing integrity, hardly 4 or 5 controls, 10 controls get added. So better you do it so that it looks good on your report. I'm not going to charge you more. I'm not going to make some additional efforts for you. So better it will look good on you. Of course, privacy, if you're not processing, client information or end user information, then you can drop it. So that's how it is. All right. So coming to the next next query. Again, pulling it up. Give me one moment. Yes. Okay. So this could be the last question, because we are nearing the end. We have exceeded the timeline. What are the common pitfalls to avoid in a SOC 2 audit? So this question would be the last. It can be taken by Ishan and then followed up by Jason. So over to you, Ishan. What are the common pitfalls to avoid in a SOC 2 audit, like the top issues that you've seen in the audits?
I think we kind of discussed or maybe touched upon during the discussion, but again, yeah, I mean,
Yes.
the usual pitfalls is, the right choice of the auditor, appropriate
Yeah.
support from the internal teams, try to have an open and clear communications with the auditors so that, both the teams are on the same page, and always have a positive outlook and, willingness to improvise. I mean, organization or the management should not feel that if the auditors have highlighted something or giving the recommendation, they're trying to raise fingers. But again, I mean, try to use those recommendations to benefit the organization as a whole. So I think yes, because if we kind of have this approach, it's usually a win-win game for both.
Yes, that's a great point. Yes, Jason, what would be your thought on this?
Right, just making sure that you assign individual roles and accountability and responsibility. Without that, the project will lose its legs and lose its life. And also, to circle back just a touch, if you're only getting the security element, you're setting yourself up more for failure than you are for success. Because if we come back and say the CPA says, well, why didn't you have this? We actually have to go back and redo everything. So, get what you can on your plate right away, and so you don't have to go back and just take care of it right up front. There's it doesn't cost anything, so get it done. Why not? and again, having those people in place to take the accountability. If you don't consider it important enough to assign to somebody, then is it important enough for you?
That's a great point. Actually, yeah, Jason, I can understand why you're pushing that again and again, because if I think about it, most of the places where we have faced issues during that SOC2 assignment is where the right roles and responsibilities are not assigned. Yes, you're right, Jason, actually. And we have both worked with clients where it has become so tough. And basically speaking, you know, yeah, and I understand. Actually, there has been, just to share with everyone, there is this particular client where, you know, in that again the assignment stretched for more than a year, and in that year they changed the single point of contact like 4 times, because they were selecting the person who was literally sitting idle, who had nothing else to do. So okay, make him the owner for the SOC2 project because he's sitting idle, but he doesn't know the process, he doesn't know anyone, he doesn't have the rights to drive the project. So so typically speaking, the management was selecting the person who's sitting idle, which is a very worst thing that you can do. So yeah, so that is where it was becoming very, very painful. So again, we have exceeded 1 hour. We still have like a dozen more questions to go, but I promise everyone that is I'll personally ensure that the questions gets answered for you, and that is taken care of. So as we close, again, the service participation request, please to fill up the participation request to just let us know how you think and whether this has been evaluated for you and your company, and also let us know what would you like to have us to do the next webinar on. And so again, thank you for everything. This is our the LinkedIn post, the LinkedIn page. We've been there for 17 years, and almost every week, every 2-3 days, we are posting some new content or the other. So do sign up, follow our page online, and that's our YouTube page. Tons of videos, and of course, that's our contact us information. So again, I thank Jason Benoit for being there, our client and customer strategy manager. And again, my heartfelt gratitude to Ishan. He's literally sitting at a client's place and doing this webinar. Can you believe this, guys? So I salute Ishan for doing this and taking the time out for sharing his experience and being there for this webinar. Ishan, thank you again, my friend.
Thank you so much. My pleasure. Always doing this for you. But yeah,
And brother, since you're sitting in the UK, I just read like it's been one of the worst heat waves in decades that you are facing down there. How's the weather today?
it's pretty good today because it's 26 degrees, and yesterday it was pretty bad, and hopefully we don't get to see that weather again. Fingers crossed.
Yeah. So take care, my brother. I'm so glad you're there. Thank you again,
Thank
Jason. My sincere appreciation to everyone, including the attendees, for being there. Thank you again for your time, patience, and your tons of questions. It makes us, look at this in a worthwhile manner, that it is actually making a difference for you, and that's what really matters, right? So thank you again for your time. Have a wonderful day ahead. Take care. Bye-bye.
you. Bye bye.